This TikTok burglar just filmed himself announcing break-ins, driving stolen luxury cars, and flashing stacks of cash, and somehow didn't think this was gonna get him arrested. Bro, what are you doing? I feel like I keep saying this, but what a fascinating use of free will. Apparently, stupidity is at an all-time high. And I guess the trash has taken itself out, but this all starts from a Facebook post from Chorley Police, because the video I just showed is from their official police department's page. And even they laid that music over the track. So I guess it's decent to know that at least whoever's running the social media has a decent sense of humor. But honestly, I mean, they're probably used to people snitching on themselves online at this point, because how many people have we covered on this channel whose online footprint gives prosecutors everything they need? Way too many at this point. At this point, I need to make a compilation video where I go through like the 50 dumbest criminals of 2025 or something like that, because there's too many at this point. But the caption starts by naming him directly. Police say the man in the footage is Hamza Ghafoor, and he's not the brightest burglar in the bunch. According to police, Ghafoor thought it was a good idea to film himself before and after committing burglaries in East Lancashire. He filmed multiple clips with his mask on, and then he filmed more later behind the wheel of stolen cars. Then, even videos showed piles of cash. So police then say the footage shows him slipping on a face mask like he's getting ready for some job interview, and then cruising around in a BMW. And the police also say the videos completely made their case. In their words, the joke's on him though, as this turned out to be key evidence in convicting him and 4 others of conspiracy to commit burglary. Awesome, dude. I mean, you completely just played yourself and your friends by being an idiot. Congratulations. This is what I've been saying for years though. These guys are the prosecution's star witnesses against themselves. This is so embarrassing at this point. I mean, they can plead not guilty to whatever the crime is, and then the court gets to watch videos of them committing the crimes. They're like, yeah, not guilty. And then they roll out, you know, the TV that was like the size of it, like tipped over, it would actually kill a kid. Yeah, one of those. They just roll out one of those bad boys and they're like, here we have him committing the things that we're accusing him for. Fascinating, isn't it? Like, come on, guys. How stupid does it get? But what makes this even worse is police say this wasn't like some sort of like one night mistake. No, this was an organized gang that traveled from Bradford to Lancashire to carry out a series of burglaries over 2 months. So between September and November of 2023, they broke into homes across Pendle, Blackburn, and Ribble Valley, Hyndburn, and Chorley, stealing high-value vehicles while people were just sleeping in their houses. So these guys were not out being quiet while they stole their cars either, because police say the cars were often driven in a convoy at high speeds, and some of them were later involved in crashes. So these guys are clearly absolute geniuses here. So I guess while this guy was filming himself like he's making some content for TikTok, real people are waking up to the police knocking on their door telling them, hey, your car's been stolen. Sorry. And it was also wrecked in another city, so have fun with that one. Yeah, that's definitely not the best news to receive when you have to go to work in a couple hours or take your kids to school. That just sucks. So it's safe to say that these people, they got what they deserved. But that's coming in a little bit. But thankfully, the genius of the operation here, who was also completely snitching on himself and his friends, essentially got the whole group arrested. I know they are so mad at him. Like, how do you ever face your friends again when the entire reason that everyone's in prison is because you couldn't help yourself but record yourself before and after the burglaries and post them online? Buddy, no one on TikTok thinks you're cool for robbing a house. And by the time police finally arrested Ghafoor, his own phone was still doing him no favors. So officers say they found a large amount of incriminating evidence on it, including videos that he recorded himself and images of stolen vehicles. And the same phone he used to record the crimes became the biggest reason he was convicted. And that phone was also just the beginning of what the police uncovered. Because once police started to look through his phone, essentially, they were just watching through the videos like it was some reality TV show, because this dude was documenting everything. So one of the first major incidents happened on September 11th, 2023, when police say a 35,000-pound Volkswagen Tiguan was stolen from outside a home in Colne. How do you pronounce that? Colne? Colney? I mean, I lived in England for 2 years and I can't pronounce anything. I was just the token American in the friend group. Everyone was just kind of laughing at me for how I pronounced everything there. And I say I'm like the token American even though I'm raised in Norway. Colney. It's a historic market town in Lancashire, England. Watch me not pronounce Lancashire as well.
Home.
Home. Oh, I think I got it. I'm pretty sure I got that first try. All right.
Lancashire.
Lancashire. Okay, I didn't get that one correct. Hey, you win some, you lose some. But at least Okay, now they just fell in my hand. I've been eating some Barber's Farmhouse imported from England cheese. I don't know. I was craving cheddar cheese. I checked out, and then that was expensive. I did not look at the price before I bought it. That was a big mistake, because when I got to the cash register and they were like $10 for this small box of cheese, I didn't want to take it back. So I guess I just bought a $10 box of some cheese. It was good though. Will I buy it again? Probably not, because I don't want to spend $10 on a little tub of cheese again, but it was really good. Anyway, that was my British segue of today. I also dumped cheddar cheese all over my mouse mat, which you can get at matt.city, baby, if you want a dope ass mouse mat. I'm getting sidetracked too much now. Back to the video. Anyway, the Volkswagen Tiguan, it was stolen outside of Cologne, and not long after that, the car was spotted and a pursuit followed. That chase then ended in Cayley, where the Tiguan was abandoned, but before it was dumped, the thieves had already stripped out its 2500 sound system. This is a 2500 pound sound system, and not in weight, Great British pounds, which is like, I don't know, like $3 grand USD. But inside the stolen car, police found a cracked iPhone, of course, because these guys are just professional morons. So the phone was then traced back to Denzel Maduma, linking him directly to the burglary. One forgotten phone inside of that stolen car, and suddenly police had a name and a connection. Then came September 29th, 2023. Two more vehicles were stolen, and this time, an Audi Q5 and an Audi Q3 taken from outside a property in Blackburn. The Audi Q5 did not get far. It was tracked to Bradford and recovered with help of West Yorkshire Police. Phone evidence later then linked Kamran, Ahmed, and Maduma to the burglary as well. So then, a month later, on October 30th, police say a 79,000-pound BMW X3 was stolen from inside of a home in Langho. A 79,000-pound X3? That must have been like a brand new X3M or something like that. I mean, that's a nice car, but 80 grand? But in pound? I mean, like 80,000. Who in their right mind is spending $110,000 on a BMW X3? Honestly, it being stolen was the best financial thing to happen to that couple, because at least they got it back on insurance and they could maybe, I don't know, do a better decision on buying a car, because who in their right mind would buy that for that price? You buy the X3 for that price, literally the next year, it's probably worth half. Okay, and I'm not trying to shit on the BMWs too much, but I mean, like, you know, 110 grand for an X3, that's crazy. That's just diabolical. But the S58 engine is a nice engine. I just wouldn't spend $110,000 for it. Anyway, the owner had no idea it was gone until the owners woke him up and told him the BMW had already been involved in a collision. Okay, it was definitely an X3M, because these guys are idiots and they can't drive. So, awesome. They were probably cutting up traffic, thinking they were the British version of Squeeze Benz, and then wrapped it around a tree or something like that. But the BMW turned out to be a gold mine of evidence, because police recovered Ahmed's DNA from the driver's airbag. Awesome. I mean, they played themselves. So Jordan May's DNA was also found in the front passenger airbag, along with DNA from 4 lighters and a bag left inside of the vehicle. Come on, guys. How stupid is it possible to be? Then you have Mohammed Zubir's DNA was also found on one of these lighters. Come on, do you have to spark up in a stolen vehicle? I don't know. Either way, then on November 3rd, another burglary in an Audi SQ5 was stolen from properties in Clitheroe. It's like, okay, you steal a car, you want to lay low. Why are you speeding and smoking green in the vehicle that you stole after you stole it? Like, why are you trying to bring that much attention to yourself? Talk about giving the officers probable cause for stopping you. Holy crap. Actually, probable cause doesn't even exist in Europe, fun fact. They can pull you over for anything there. At least they can in Norway. I'm pretty sure it's the same in the UK. But anyway, then on November 3rd, another burglary happened. An Audi SQ5 was stolen from a property in Clitheroe, alongside of 2 debit cards. Those cards were then used just hours later, and CCTV footage from the stores showed who was using them, leading to an arrest. And that man, of course, denied the burglary and told police that he had been given those cards by Zubir. And phone records back that up. Police say that both Zubir and Ahmed were both linked to the burglary through telephone evidence. And just 4 days later, on November 7th, police say an Audi S4 was stolen from outside a home in Accrington. It was seen driving in a convoy with an Audi A3 dangerously speeding through the area. When officers tried to stop the cars, both failed to pull over. And the Audi A3 was later found abandoned in Accrington, and inside it, police uncovered a false number plate with Guffor's fingerprint in it. The Audi S4 didn't escape either. It was abandoned in Bradford after a second pursuit. Inside that car, police also found a blowtorch with Ahmed's DNA on it. And phone evidence once again tied Maduma, Ahmed, and Zabir to the burglary. Then, on November 10th, a Volkswagen Golf was stolen from outside a property in Chorley. Telephone evidence also linked Ahmed and Sabir to that one as well. Basically, every single time these guys stole something, their phones linked them to it. I mean, I can only imagine how hard the cops laughed when they found videos on one of the phones as well. So whoever got to look at the phone first was probably calling all the other cops like, hey guys, look at this. We have our whole case right here. Good job, guys. Thank you. And I guess they could have gotten away with it as well if it wasn't for Hamza Ghafoor and his meddling self-snitching tactics on his camera, because these guys were doing all of this, I mean, just back to back. It was just a matter of time before they were gonna get caught. But come on, why did you record all of the evidence and even post some of it to TikTok? Because it was only a couple weeks later that on November 19th, a red Mercedes CLA 45 was stolen from outside a home in Longridge. Police say that when Hamza Ghafoor was later arrested, his phone contained images of that exact stolen Mercedes. Then finally, on November 25th, the victims were on holiday in Cambodia when they saw something no one ever wants to see: footage of people breaking into their home in Langho. So while they were thousands of miles away, police say that 2 BMWs were stolen from outside their property. Telephone evidence then linked Sabir Ghafoor and Dylan Shutterworth to that burglary. Again, the phones connect the dots. So when police finally arrested Ghafoor, they say the amount of evidence on his phone was just overwhelming. Officers recovered multiple incriminating videos, including footage he filmed himself, showing him inside one of the stolen BMW. But the search didn't stop there. And during the search of Ghafoor's bedroom, officers found a Louis Vuitton bag, and inside, they described it as 926 wraps of, let's call it snow, but that's an interesting, I've never heard it being described as wraps of. I guess they're just like wraps of like, not tinfoil, but like saran wraps of it. That would be my guess. I don't know. I don't do that stuff. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. But there was also 316 wraps of another substance. So by the time the case reached the court, police had stacked evidence from every direction: phone data, CCTV, DNA from airbags and lighters, fingerprints on false plates, abandoned cars, stolen cards, and self-recorded videos. I mean, there was no mystery left to solve. They just kind of handed it all to the prosecutors. Like, congratulations, the story was told, mostly by the defendant himself. So there were 5 other defendants in total. You had Kamran Ahmed, Muhammad Zubir, Denzel Mudama, Jordan May, and Dylan Shuttleworth. All 6 defendants were convicted of conspiracy to commit burglary and conspiring to steal motor vehicles. In total, the group was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Massive skill issue on everyone involved here. What are you? An idiot sandwich. So Hamza Ghafoor, the guy who filmed himself over and over and over again, was sentenced to jail for 6 years. And because this is happening in England, I'm assuming the jail equivalent for 6 years there is essentially prison here in the US. So hence why I'm using prison. But he received the longest sentence out of the whole group, which makes a whole lot of sense since he gave everyone so much evidence on him. He seemed to be the most brazen out of the bunch. But Muhammad was sentenced to 3 years and 9 months. Jordan was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months. Denzel was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months. Cameron Ahmed also received a 2-year prison sentence. And Dylan Shuttleworth, who was only 18 years old at the time, was given a 12-month youth referral order instead of prison time. Ghafoor himself was jailed on January 5th, while the remaining defendants were sentenced in Bolton Crown Court last year. Police also said that several of the other men were already serving prison sentences for similar crimes in other areas when these sentences were handed down. Detective Constable Tom Archer from Lancashire Police said the majority of offenders in this police case were already serving prison sentences for similar offenses committed in other force areas at the time of the sentencing. It is, however, satisfying to know they will now have to spend even longer behind bars. And from what I can tell from the police statements and some of the comments on Facebook pages, this was a pretty huge community win, which again, it makes sense considering how many vehicles these guys were stolen and how many homes they were breaking into back to back. I mean, these guys were just straight up awful people to have in your community, because altogether they stole a Volkswagen Tiguan, an Audi Q5, an Audi Q3, a BMW X3, an Audi Q5, a red Mercedes CLA, 2 BMWs, and so many more. Like, this wasn't like one single crime scene. No, this was a whole bunch of vehicles in a short amount of time, and they crashed a bunch of them. Like, come on. But at least the trash took itself out, because at the end of the day, no one forced this guy to record himself doing all this. So hey, skill issue. But now we have 6 people convicted with a total of 15 years in prison, and the dude who thought filming all of this would be harmless ended up with the longest sentence of them all. So I guess this is just yet another case of someone deciding that seeing themselves on camera was worth the jail time. So hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.